With God of War Ragnarok marking the finale of Kratos' arc in Norse mythology, players are, rightfully so, shooting out theory after theory and hypothesizing where on Earth Kratos and Atreus' next adventure will go next. With the 9 realms, well, 8 realms, returning to relative peace after the events of Ragnarok, from the looks of it, most of the loose ends presented in the franchise have been tied up nicely, and begs the question, what is in store for Kratos and Atreus in the series' next outing? To answer this question, let's take a brief look at how God of War Ragnarok wrapped up the Norse saga of games, and see if we can get some hints as to where the series will take our beloved Ghost of Sparta and his son Atreus next. God of War Ragnarok ended in quite a bittersweet and uplifting way, which is at complete odds with the previous and original saga of God of War in ancient Greece. Instead of Ragnarok culminating in the destruction of all realms and all life as we knew it, Asgard is the real victim here, along with the Einherjar of Odin and the like. At the end of the game with Kratos and Atreus at the shrine atop one of the mountains in Midgard by the Lake of Nine, we see a new mural this time around. Unlike in God of War 2018's mural in Jotunheim that depicted what many of us thought was the death of Kratos in the arms of his son Atreus, well, that wasn't depicted here at all. In fact, what we got here was Faye as the one who went out of her way, against her own people in Jotunheim, to destroy that very mural at the end of God of War 2018, so that the pair could take charge of their own fate. This mural gives us insight of Atreus, and how he would do what he felt was right for him and his future, charting his own path. Throughout God of War 2018, and through spending much more time with him and his thoughts in God of War Ragnarok, we know that Atreus has been having certain giant visions, guiding him on what he needs to do. With the assistance of Angerboda along with the permission of Kratos, here we get some rather large details as to what could eventually become a possible spin-off title starring Atreus. Now, a spin-off title is just something that I think would be the most likely here, as I would bet that Santa Monica Studio is saving the mainline God of War entries where Kratos is the protagonist. A spin-off title focusing on Atreus, or perhaps Loki in this case, doesn't sound too far out of the realm of possibility here. That way, Santa Monica Studio can continue to make further entries into the Norse saga with Atreus, while progressing the mainline God of War games with Kratos.
Told you he's gone.
Well, have you tried calling him?
If I were a betting man, I would bet that we would be getting an Atreus spin-off title rather shortly, perhaps in the next 1 to 2 years in the form of DLC or as a smaller standalone title. We have seen Sony do this before with Uncharted Lost Legacy, which was a standalone title off the events of Uncharted 4 that focused on a pair of side characters to the Uncharted franchise, and the most recent example being Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. These two games are subsidized versions of their mainline counterparts, but scratch that itch that players have been wanting to see out of some of the supporting cast. As for the storyline surrounding what Atreus' future entry might hold, it would be surrounding what Atreus tells his father at the very end of the game at the shrine.
There are other giants out there, and I've got to find them. I think I know where to look, but they're my responsibility.
Atreus would go off on his own to search for the remaining giants that are still out there, alive, rescuing them and restoring them to the nearly barren Jotunheim. This is a personal story for Atreus, as this is his way to answer those voices ringing in his head to save his people, and potentially alongside Angerboda and her pouch full of the giants' spirits. This actually is brilliant, as we have seen Atreus' handiwork several times throughout God of War Ragnarok, through his ability to impose the souls of beings into the bodies of others. For example, we saw in Jotunheim that Atreus was actually the one to put the soul of a giant into the lifeless snake that we found here in Gryla's home, eventually becoming the world serpent, Jormungandr, that would be the one to fight against Asgard during the events of Ragnarok, towards the game's final battle. We also saw this with the transferring of Fenrir's soul into the body of Garm, essentially expelling Garm's hostile spirit and bringing back to life Atreus' dear wolf, just in the body of another. Although this example doesn't involve the transfusion of a giant's soul, although Garm's body is indeed giant, we can expect to see a lot more of this happen in a spin-off title featuring Atreus. With so many giant souls left in Angerboda's pouch, and with a clear lack of giants still left in Jotunheim, this rightly feels like Atreus' natural calling, a rebirth of Jotunheim and the saving of his people and culture. As Atreus is indeed one of the only soul giants remaining, he, along with the assistance of Angerboda, would be the ones to answer the voices he has been hearing and set off on a quest that would perhaps take him on a realm-trotting adventure to restore the lost giants. Let me know what you think about what I feel would be the story, the foundation for what a possible spin-off title would be featuring the likes of Atreus. Let me know below in the comments, good people. In God of War Ragnarok, we've already gotten to spend plenty of time with just Atreus, finding ourselves fighting off enemies, controlling the boy directly, and even uncovering a whole new side to his skill tree. This was certainly one of the big twists to God of War Ragnarok, as a new playable character would grace a mainline God of War game. Although the time was spent much more with Kratos at the helm, what we have here is a combat system tailored to the strengths and the agility of Atreus. And what we could get in a potential Atreus spin-off title would feature much of what we have here in God of War Ragnarok, with some new tweaks and adjustments, of course. Atreus felt really solid to play as in God of War Ragnarok, sharing many similarities with his father, but was able to differentiate himself enough, especially with his emphasis on ranged combat and his increased agility that made the Atreus sections particularly enjoyable. Similar to how players were able to control Ellie in The Last of Us Part 1 during the winter section of that game, she felt significantly more agile and nimble when compared to Joel's sections. It would be cool to see Atreus use his soul transfer mechanic in combat scenarios, potentially giving players the opportunity to take the life out of a bigger enemy and reinstating it into the likes of some small, annoying grunt could be humorous, yet open up a whole new realm of creative combat opportunities for Atreus. What do you think Atreus' gameplay should be like in his own spin-off? Let me know, good people.
Damn it!
Some advice. Sticking your hand in lava is never gonna feel good.
Wasn't thinking.
Good. It's better that way.
Atreus was certainly a star in God of War Ragnarok, but now we know that he could be the star if he were to have his own game. Tasking Atreus to go after the remaining giants across the realms and save his people, this could be a spin-off title that could not only be fun to play, serving as an extension to the awesome gameplay established for him in God of War Ragnarok, but also a continuation of the Norse saga. We know that Kratos' time in the Norse saga is, per the developers stating this, over, as God of War Ragnarok represents the end of the Norse story the developers were trying to tell. Now, with that said, where will we see Kratos next? Is he off to Egypt? To the mythology of the Mayans? Ancient Japan? Well, stick around for the next video as I go into detail where I think the God of War series will take the mighty Ghost of Sparta. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts about the future of the series and where you think it will go in the comments below. Also, hitting that like button does wonders to this video and the channel, so a solid strike of that like button would be very much appreciated. Subscribe too if you love the content. Go check out this video here if you are interested in getting one of the most overpowered builds in God of War Ragnarok that will make your time fighting Gna significantly easier. It is an insane build, and one that's not hard to make. Thanks for all the awesome support, good people, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Peace.